Today we're going to take apart our Billet 2JZ that we went 677 with at the end of 2019. Before we switched to the Billet block, the car would go low sevens on the stock cast block without any real signs of trouble. When we started pushing the engine hard enough to go 6.9s, we started seeing elevated cooling system pressures as the stock deck distorted, which would be my signal to tear the engine apart for inspection before it scatters. We started taking the engine apart more often to see how the parts were living, hoping it would give us some insight on how to get past the obstacle and go faster. There were no signs of trouble in the sleeves, pistons, rods, bearings, or crank, but the deck showed signs of flexing, which was letting combustion past our O-ring copper head gasket and into the cooling system. When we switched to the Mazworks Billet block, it's because its MID sleeve and stud design provide more structure, but we quickly realized more power was going to require a better gasket solution if we wanted to retain the factory cooling system. We never torched the head or blew a head gasket, but the log showed elevating cooling system pressure as it was going down the track. Most cars at this level don't need to compete in street events like drag week, so they move to a dry block and eliminate the challenge of the cooling system completely, but for us it's a requirement. After 3 unsuccessful revisions of O-ring depth, Mazworks made us a fire ring setup and our gasket sealing problems went away. Imports First Domestics 2019 was our first time out with a gasket system that could handle consistently competing at the 6-second level. It was our last race of the year with a long break to follow. Gio was pretty excited about going fast, so we upgraded to a 94mm XPR turbo. At some point in competition on Saturday, while trying to manage tire spin and wheelies at a power level I'd never competed at, I'd made a mistake that hurt 2 cylinders. They were testing low on compression and the EGTs were cooler than the rest. On Sunday, we spun the tires in round 2 and we were knocked out of competition. When we went to pick up the car and trailer on Monday during a private track rental, Lucas and Miles from English Racing encouraged us not to waste a rare opportunity to run the car at one of the best tracks in the world during the best time of the year. We couldn't leave without trying, so we decided we'd take a risk. We made 3 clean 6-second runs, 2 6.8s and a 6.7. I was hesitant to push the car knowing it was already hurt, but trap speed was not falling and the car was not going to have to compete again for months, so there'd be plenty of time to fix it if it couldn't survive. After the burnout before our last run, I could hear the engine had a low cylinder. It went 6.8 at 210. We decided to stop pushing our luck and drove it back to the trailer while it was still running so we could take it apart before it had a chance to take itself apart. What we found was some heat-related damage to the top rings and an overheated piston. I believe this is from being too aggressive with boost and timing for the inlet temps that our air-to-air intercooler provides. I also feel that I need to get more lubrication on the cylinder walls to help cool the rings. Moving forward, we'll have to make some changes to avoid this outcome in the future. First, I'll run more fuel and less timing in that cylinder to try to cool that cylinder off. And then we're going to change the hone on the block to try to retain more oil on the cylinders to help promote oil cooling the rings and also better sealing. From there, we're going to move to a larger turbocharger because when I increased the boost from 65 to 70 pounds, the car didn't really go any faster. Tearing the engine apart when we did, we probably avoided a catastrophic failure because had I continued to run that piston, it would start to destroy the cylinder wall it was adjacent to, and then it's going to start eating oil, and then it's going to blow up. So we definitely avoided having a large problem by stopping when we did. The engine will get new pistons, but I'll be able to reuse the same block, crank, rods, and cylinder head. This may not be the case had I continued to run it. I tear this engine down often enough for inspection that I can see problems as they start to develop instead of running the engine until the point that it can't run anymore. This saves us a lot of money in the long run because we're replacing a component that's been overused instead of replacing a bunch of components that have failed. I think that this is the right way to do it as I can see problems as they develop and I can make adjustments to the tune as needed. Moving forward, we'll continue to take videos of our teardown inspections so we can learn through the process together.